Good morning, dear beautiful people. This is Dove Marcus, director of healthcareraw.com, and you might hear my kids acclimating to the morning air in the background. A couple of them are they're up awake on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's a Mother's Day today. It's also a very special Jewish holiday called Lag BaOmer. It's like an outdoors holiday. We're all going to go to the park and have some kind of carnival and probably eat hot dogs. I'm going to take the kids on a little hike. We'll grab them away from the carnival and go hiking because I love doing that. Anyhow, so yesterday was the anniversary of my dear grandfather's passing. Oh, by the way, Dove Marcus, I'm not sure if I said this earlier, Dove Marcus, director of healthcareraw.com. You can visit us at healthcareraw.com. You can subscribe to our podcast feed on iTunes, Libsyn, SoundCloud. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. You know, there's so many platforms. I could spend this whole time just like telling you where to find me, but apparently you found me. Like you're listening and you found me. So, okay. So yesterday was the 8th anniversary. It's called a yahrzeit. It's called a yahrzeit in Yiddish. Is the anniversary of a passing. My grandfather, my father's father, his name was Sidney Marcus. He was a great guy, big guy. He was a plumber. He was a soldier in World War II. And he was a gentleman. And he was a compassionate person. And he passed away at age 92, and so he would be 100 years old now. I want to share something that happened, a lesson that he taught me, and it stuck with me. It stuck with me to the point where I need to tell it to you. And I hope that you can connect with my grandfather through hearing this story. So, my grandfather was diagnosed with bladder cancer at age 92, shortly after his birthday, and I may get some details wrong. Hey, Dad, if you're hearing this, I get some details wrong. Come after me privately. Anyhow, so my dear grandfather was diagnosed, and he started to be hospitalized on various occasions. And I remember when at first he was starting to, he'd be hospitalized. They didn't do any chemo. They couldn't do any surgery because he was already old, and he also had emphysema. And by the way, he never smoked, but. So, Zaidy, as I called him, was admitted to the hospital for the first time. And it would progress into more times. And he ended up in a nursing home. And he got sicker. And he got more frustrated with being sick. And he ended up kind of not being himself. Parenthetically, I often tell grieving family members, I say, look, you miss your dear departed, and the last couple months or the last that illness was terrible for him or her and you and your family. So what you're going to likely think about is those last couple months or years or whatever it was, because that was the most striking. It was your last time seeing him or her was in the illness. And so your challenge is to move back in time and think about those earlier times, who the person really was. So my grandfather was first hospitalized, and I went to visit him. And I remember sitting down on a chair. He was in the bed, kind of like sitting up, and he had the sports on. And he would watch any sports. He'd watch like horses jumping over things. He'd watch that sweeping game in the Olympics, the sweeping on the ice. Like if it's sports, he would watch it. But regardless, we were sitting there and we were talking. And while he wasn't a blabber mouth kind of person, he would rather not talk, but when he would start talking, it was always a treat. So we were sitting there chit-chatting, and all of a sudden, the door opens, and in walks a guy with a broom and a wheeled garbage can, and he goes to empty out the trash. And Zaidy stops talking to me, and he looks over at this young man, and he says, "What's your name?" And the guy looks at him, he's kind of like startled, like, shoot, did I just do something wrong? And Zaidy says again, he says, "What's your name?" And he says, "John." And Zaidy says to him, "Thank you. Thank you very much." And then the guy kind of like breathes this relief, and he's like, "Oh, you're welcome, sir." And then Zaidy says, "Have a great day." And he says, "You too, sir." And he empties the trash, and he does whatever he needs to do, and he's gone. And door closes behind him, and it's me and Zaidy and I. Zaidy looks at me, and he says, "Now, Dove, how difficult was that? How difficult was that?" And gosh, you know what? How difficult is it to be nice? And that was the takeaway for me. It was like, how difficult was it? How difficult is it to be nice? Is it let me ask you a question. Is it easier to be nice, or is it easier to be nasty and mean? We have a tendency, not we, but there are nasty people in the world, and if you're nasty and you're nasty and you're lending your ears to me, that's pretty awesome. You're probably not really so nasty. It's kind of like that 2% who's nasty. Break everything down to 2%. There's always 2%. But I believe that more than 2% are not nasty. And it's really easy to be nice. First, it just takes a conscious effort. Zaidy had to consciously stop talking to me, look over at Joe, and engage him with the goal of just saying something nice. That's all he did. "Hey, Joe, thank you very much. I appreciate it." And Joe walked away. After that experience, I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, did Zaidy stop our conversation and compliment Joe and thank Joe just to teach me the lesson? You'd think that from a sage elderly person, right? But you know what I think? I think he wanted to thank Joe because he wanted to be genuinely nice to Joe. And I've taken that and I've run with it. I have run with it. I've shared this with many, many people, and I will continue to do so. It is easy to be nice. It is easy to be nice. It starts with that thought, and you just be nice. It's like to contort your face into a smile to a random person, not like a weird smile, but just like a grin, like that actually could change someone's day. It can change their whole day. It's easy to be nice. I remember when I was a kid, I went to my friend's house. I went to visit him in Texas. We were in Austin. I remember I was on my way back. I think I was 13 or something, maybe 14. And him and his mother, they were at the gate. That was back in the awesome days when people can walk up to the gate to see you off at the airport. But anyhow, so I remember there was some guy in front of me in the line, and my friend was there with his mother. We were like talking, and they were like, I was like, wow, that was so much fun. It was actually like, it was during the time of the Atlanta Olympics, like right during those 2 weeks. Anyhow, I remember that because my friend and I did hurdles on his quiet little Austin street in 103-degree weather. But so this guy turns around and he said something like nasty to me. And before I could really think or do anything or I mean, I was a kid. What was I going to do? I'm not like an in-your-face kind of guy, right? His mother says out loud to me and to my friend and like to everyone around us who can hear, "Oh, don't pay attention to that guy. He's just having a bad day." And I was like, wow, that takes a lot of guts to do. But yeah, that's what you need to tell yourself sometimes if you meet a nasty person. It's easy to be nice. I need you to remember this about my dear Zaidy, who I miss very, very much. I even named my son Shmuley after him. Gave him his Hebrew name, Shmuel Moshe. Amazing, amazing person. And I just, I wanted to share that with you. It's easy to be nice. I carry that into my practice. I meet with patients, man. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's so easy to be nice. It's satisfying to be nice. I don't be nice to people because I want to follow that principle of being nice. No, I actually I just want to be nice to people. It's like, why is this such a novel approach to life, right? So anyway, got a big day ahead of me. I hope you chew on that one for a while, right? Maybe hop on Facebook and tell the group what you've done, some experiences that you had where you found that it's easy to be nice. Have a beautiful day, guys. I'll see you on the next podcast.